Welcome everybody to the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of East Central Independent School District on June 18th, 2020, beginning at 6:30. This is a meeting of the East Central Board of Trustees in accordance with Governor Abbott's local guidance on the local pandemic. So let it reflect that we do have a quorum. We'll move on to prayer and pledge. Item 2. Ms. Dunn?
Yes, sir. I'd like to call Dr. Shannon Fuller up to the podium to lead us in this evening's pledge and prayer.
engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer to bridge and nurture the bonds of the community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that might affect students, staff, athletes, and alumni, friends, and Eastern Alliance. We ask and speak in your name. Amen. Please join me in the
Thank you, Mrs. Fuller. We'll move, we don't have any public comments, so we'll move on to item 5, public hearing. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. We're going to go to awards and recognitions. Mr. Scott?
Yes, sir, Mr. Massengill, trustees, tonight we're excited to honor several of our employees this month for exhibiting one or more values that the board holds dear, and specifically tonight for teamwork and adaptability. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our marketing director, Brandon, to conduct the proceeding this evening and recognize our employees. Brandon?
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, board members and Superintendent Toscano, for recognizing exemplary staff members this month in accordance with our district's values. The first one I would like to introduce is Stephen Murphy from Technology for the value of teamwork. Mr. Murphy has volunteered with no strings attached to help just about everyone in our department during the COVID crisis. He has worked long hours, responded to calls on the weekend, and came in on days we were off, all with no extra pay due to him being on salary. He did all this while being positive and supportive of his coworkers. Congratulations, Steve. Next, I would like to introduce the high school administration team for the values of adaptability and teamwork. Come on up, East Central High School administration. One word, graduation 2020. Mr. Shane McKay and his team are deserving of this recognition for their collaborative efforts with this year's graduation ceremony. Despite all the obstacles placed in front of the district with COVID-19 and the possibility of not having a traditional graduation, they worked tirelessly to make sure that each and every graduate felt loved and supported. From planning an amazing ceremony parade to coordinating the production of several videos for the virtual ceremony, no detail was left unattended. Through their efforts, a precedent was set for other districts to follow. And they include David Trader, Karen Halsman, Teresa Rodriguez, Amy Graber, Melissa Barnett Cosio, Renee Ferguson, Vincent Brasino, Francisco Salinas, Rodney Vigil. Suzette Ariola. Karen Wildman. And Principal Shane McKay. There were a lot more that pitched in on graduation, for sure, but definitely big thank you to the East Central High School administration team.
All right, we'll move on to item 4, public comments. We don't have any public comments, so we'll do away with that. And we'll move on to item 5, public hearing. Item A, public hearing for optional flexible school day program. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak in regards to the optional flexible school day? No, then we'll move on to item 6, public hearing. Item A, collect delinquent property taxes. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak upon collecting of delinquent property taxes? All right, that is done. Move on to item 7, superintendent report. Item A, 2019-2020 curriculum department update. Mr. Scott?
So, Mr. President, trustees, in your miscellaneous packet, you have a copy of the slide deck. Dr. Fuller will be presenting to the board this evening. There are also some accompanying technical documents and data that support the presentation that she's going to be sharing with the board tonight. In addition to that, in your electronic packet, you can also find the same information if you choose to follow along that way. Beginning on page 15. Dr. Fuller?
Good evening, President Massengale, Mr. Scano, trustees. I am honored to share with you the curriculum and instruction final report with you. As Mr. Scano shared, there is a copy in your folder as well as an electronic copy. The report that is shared with you is broken down by sub-departments that make up the curriculum and instruction department. Each sub-department put a little excerpt of what they wanted to focus and highlight on the work that they've done this year. They've highlighted programs, activities, and things that they've collaborated with campuses and students on throughout the year. They wanted to highlight for you. So I'm going to start by sharing our progress on our 4 priorities that you all are well aware of in our scorecard. The first priority is teaching and learning environment, which is the heart and soul of what we do in curriculum and instruction. So one of the things that we work really hard on is putting systems and structures for learning throughout our organization. And this year we've worked really hard on working with campuses and our department on being faithful to the things that we put in place. So we've done that by meeting with them, coaching, having quarterly meetings. We have coaching support on campuses, in classrooms with teachers. Our curriculum and instruction leadership team meets once a week to also calibrate and discuss and plan. We have created and are always creating curriculum documents to help support teachers with the best resources that they need to help with instruction in the classroom. Some of those things that we've worked on is creating what we call unit outlines. And in those unit outlines, it really gives teachers that day-to-day possibility of what could they teach in their classroom. What are those resources, what are those lessons that they need in order to be successful? And so it's there for them at their fingertips day to day. One of the things we've been really working on is student achievement. We want our students to be very successful in learning in the classroom. And so we were unable to measure a lot this year due to COVID-19, so a lot of our data didn't come in as we expected, but we do have middle of the year data. And looking at our middle of the year data, we're proud to say that we were on track as a district to meet our proficiency goals. So our students were reaching the goals that we had set for them to achieve. Growth is something that we look for, where our goal is that students make a year or worth of growth each year in reading and math and the areas that we teach. And we were lagging behind just a little bit in that growth goal, but we were hopeful that by the end of the year we would have achieved it, and we were sad that we didn't get to see that. One of the other things that we do is we work on getting in classrooms to look to see what's happening in there, how our teachers doing, how our students learning, and how can we provide that support. Our priority 2 is high-performing and engaging workplace. I'm proud to say that in our department, we have a very high retention rate, over 90%. Our fearless leader is one of the only few that left for retirement, so we're sad that she left, but we let her go, but she hit us a little bit in our routine, in our goal. We also really worked very hard. I'm very proud of our team with COVID-19. They rallied and worked very hard in about 3 to 4 days to put together a plan for students and teachers for learning they shifted very quickly from face-to-face to distance learning. And so I'm proud of the work that they did, that they put that together and were able to publish it on a very short notice. And we got a lot of praise from the community and from our teachers and faculty around that. We work on providing professional development. So during that closure specifically, our teachers had to shift very quickly to an online platform that some were familiar with and some weren't. And so we worked very hard to provide online and just-in-time professional development. It looked like modules. It looked like teachers could get in and join us in chat sessions to help as we did those weekly and sometimes multiple times a week to help out. And a lot of them were just texts and phone calls throughout the day and night as teachers came up with things that they needed help with. Priority 3 is inclusive and collaborative partnerships. And Dr. Holman, over our CCMR department, worked very hard this year to create a task force so that we could really gauge our mutually beneficial partnerships. Through that task force, we discovered that we have 372 partners district-wide. So we're very proud of that. 50 of those have MOUs. And through our CCMR department and that task force and our partnership with Marcom, what we did was we developed a survey that we sent out to our mutually beneficial partners to try and start to engage in a two-way communication about services that we provide to them and that they provide to us to see to what degree is it mutually beneficial and how do we continue to foster and grow those partnerships. We also had our first annual Family Appreciation Night and Expo in October. We had 41 partners that came out to participate in that for our community, so we were very proud of that. We had Special Olympics state competition for football, so we were very excited about that. 4 districts competed, 2 from San Antonio, 1 from Dallas, and 1 from El Paso. And the last priority, resources and operational excellence. This year, we really worked on a transition to make sure that we are great stewards of our inventory and our resources. And so we transitioned to a new resource system where we can inventory all of our information. So in the beginning of the year was a big transfer from our old system to our new system, and then really working on barcoding and making sure that everybody was trained and knew how to take care of and keep track of our inventory. So that's been a very big project this year that we've worked on, and I'm proud to say everybody is trained, and we're working through making sure everything's in there, and so it's up and running well. We also supported campuses and other departments with getting on board with that inventory system, and we have pictures there of our warehouse with all the boxes and our lovely helpers that go in and eat sometimes and help to barcode for us, so very helpful.
The last thing we wanted to share with you is we give a yearly end of the year survey, and that goes strictly to our department and the people that are in it. So I wanted to share our top thoughts that we got from our department in regards to that survey. Basically, there were 5 things that bubbled to the top. The first thing was that we're getting increasingly clear about what we are doing and why we are doing it, that communication has improved, that there was a quick rollout of distance learning, and that there's a team and family atmosphere in our department, and that leadership lets me do my job. And so we're proud of those things. We've worked hard as a team to really meet the needs of everybody that we come in contact with.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to item B, maintenance department update. Mr. Escano?
Yes, sir. Trustees, similarly in your miscellaneous packet, you have a copy of the slide deck as well as supporting information from our maintenance department. In addition to that, in your electronic packet, if you prefer to follow along that way, on page 32, you can find the same information in your board book. Keith Moore.
Mr. Massimino, Mr. Toscano, thank you for allowing us to come and present our scorecard for 2019-2020 for maintenance and operations. We have 4 priorities like everybody else. Priority 1 is teaching and learning environment. Through our surveys we've gotten back, we've had a positive feedback on school news surveys of 95%. On average, our department closes 71 work orders that are completed within less than 5 days. And we also, on average, complete 160 work orders in less than 30 days. One of our biggest things that we're the happiest about is our workman's comp and accident reports is the lowest in the district. We had 1 accident fiscal year with a cost of less than $500, which is less than 1% of total claims for the district. We're really excited about that, considering what we do and with all the moving parts and tools that we work with. Very conscious of our safety. One other thing we do is our professional development. We've sent some of our staff to Bud and Voss. We have attended TASMO conferences, continue to get our CEUs for our trades. Senior management is working towards TASMO certification, and also we're working towards our Master Texas Energy Manager, the ETIM, our MTIM team. Our department is 100% complete on safe schools, including our newest employee that's only been with us for about 3 months. Other safety trainings we've gone through is ALICE, Navigate, Stop the Bleed. We're all 100% complete on that, with the exception of a couple of new employees. Priority 2 is a high-performing and engaged workforce. We have faculty meetings or facility meetings with our group. We have monthly meetings with principals to help take care of their needs and make sure that we're doing for them what they need to help the students have a good learning environment. We do facility management calendaring, 30, 60, 90 days for new employees. We're engaging with them to make sure that their expectations and our expectations are met for them. We schedule time to meet with our staff. One of the things that we do when we do have an opening, and it's not very often that we do, but when we do have an opening, our resources we use to try to fill those positions with high caliber engaged people is we use the frontline tracking system. We use different platforms as well too. We use TASMO to help advertise our openings, Indeed.com, which we really got some good applicants through there, the district website, social media, and local newspapers. We've also reorganized our department. We now have 2 senior project managers, myself and Julio. I apologize for couldn't be here tonight for unforeseen things. And we also have put in place 4 lead positions, or a foreman position for our trade positions. It's really worked. It's given us in between us and the team, that somebody else can be out there and help us accomplish our goals. Priority 3 is inclusive and collaborative partnerships. We have several partnerships that we use through the maintenance department. I'll highlight a couple of them. Paper retriever is one that it used to be a free service, but it's no longer a free service. We negotiated with them and got the price down about 50% what they originally had quoted us. So we've got 13 recycling bins out throughout the district that we pay for, but we also negotiated and got 5 free ones out of them as well. So we've done well with that. One of our big mutual partnerships was CPS and Clear Results. Through their efforts and our efforts with the rebates program, and we do retrofits from regular lighting to LED lighting, we get rebates there and we take advantage of that. The district also is part of the demand response program through CPS. And what that is we get a curtailment of usage. And proud to announce that we, as a district, have received over $300,000 in rebates due to the demand response program. And that's real money. I know everybody gets upset because it gets hot in their buildings, but it's a great program and everybody is on board with it and it works really well for us. One thing that we just got this year too is an interlocal agreement with the city of San Antonio. This is really key. It'll help us when we start doing more construction because we can expedite getting our permitting and codes and compliance issues. Priority 4, resources and operational excellence. One of our big tools we use in our department is our school do program. It helps us track our work orders, helps us track our inventory, and it also notifies us when we start getting low on certain items. And it'll send us emails so we know that we're getting low and we can get the process started to replace that inventory. It also helps us with our budget alignment and through our preventive maintenance program. By preventive maintenance, we're able to get ahead of some things before they break. We're on top of them, we fix them, and help prolong the life of that equipment. It helps us by tracking our replacement schedule. We also have a 5-year long-range plan for replacements of equipment, vehicles, tools, etc. A new thing that we started this year, and unfortunately due to COVID-19, we have contracted with Akita Box. Akita Box is a great program where it's going to help us notify or identify all of our equipment within our buildings. And it'll be on it's a web-based program, so when we're in a school, we can bring up and we know exactly where our AC units are, our rooftop units are, what they are, how old they are, and all of that. So COVID-19 has kind of slowed that down, but that is in the works. And one last thing we do, and we push this a lot, our purchasing cooperatives. When we're buying equipment, tools, whatever the case may be, one of our first things is, are you a member of a purchasing cooperative like a Bible Board or a TIPS and TAPS? So again, we're very happy with the way our department's running. We're getting good feedback through our monthly meetings and our survey results. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Anybody got any questions?
Thank you. Yeah.
Move on to item C, bond refunding sale. Mr. Scott?
Yes, sir. We have Victor Kuroga from Specialized Public Finance here to give the board an update on our most recent refunding of Bond Series 2020 that I think you'll find very pleasing. Welcome, Victor. Before Victor presents, in your miscellaneous packet, you have a handout to follow along with what Victor will be sharing. Its title is East Central Independent School District Unlimited Tax Refunding Bonds Series 2020, little 2-page document.
Honorable President, members of the board, Mr. Toscano, thank you for having me here this evening. My name is Victor Quiroga. We're Specialized Public Finance, and we are the honor representing the district as your financial advisor. The last time you saw me was February 20th, and at that point, the world was pretty different and everything, and so things have transpired since then. But when you last saw me, you allowed myself and the administration to start the offering documents to refinance one of your higher interest bonds. And so we're here this evening to present those results to you. No further action is necessary. You took that action back in February 20. And so we had identified previously for the district that Chief could have an opportunity to refinance the Series 2010 bonds for interest cost savings. All we're doing and did do is change a high interest rate for a low interest rate. We did not extend the repayment term. Everything's going to stay as is. We're just reducing the interest rate. So that occurred, and we locked in an interest rate on May 5th, and then we just closed that transaction about 2 weeks ago. So everything went smoothly. So what we decided to do, we decided to conduct a competitive sale method, meaning that we put these bonds out to bid, and whoever provided us the lowest interest rate for those bonds was going to be awarded those bonds as the winner. And so on this slide here, on May 5th, we received 11 bids, which is actually pretty high. Whenever you start getting to the double digit in terms of number of bids, these are all investment banks throughout the country that were interested in purchasing these central ISD bonds. So we were happy with the number of bids, and most importantly, we're happy with the interest rate that we received from the winning bidder, which was Hilltop Securities of Dallas. And they came in at an interest rate of 1.273%. What that translates to is, if you go to the next slide, when you last saw me, we're anticipating that we could reduce that 5% interest rate down to about 1.51% to produce interest cost savings of about $927,000. Fortunately, we came in below that, and we came in at 1.27%, and we ended up earning just above $1 million in interest cost savings for the district by changing that high interest rate to the low interest rate. As you can see here, the next box there, you can see the annual savings. Unfortunately, we don't get all those monies all at once in savings. It's going to be spread out over the next 7 years. We're averaging about $142,000 per year in interest cost savings for taxpayer savings. This is all wonderful, and we're very pleased with it and excited, but I don't want to paint too rosy of a picture. What had happened in between to get here was the road was a little bumpy, and probably caused a lot of anxiety for Ms. Burns and everything. But so the last time you saw me, to the time we locked in interest rates, the market just really went haywire. And so interest rates rose all the way up to probably about 200 basis points, which is a really big swing in our industry. It's about 2 percentage points. And so it got so bad where nobody was able to issue any bonds. They weren't able to issue bonds to construct anything new or to refinance. And so it got scary there for like a 2-week period where nothing was happening. Well, in between that time, Ms. Burns did a wonderful job and visited with the rating agencies, and they maintained their strong credit rating. We did try to go into the market one time during that time. It didn't work. We weren't able to attract anybody, but just a couple weeks after that, we attracted 11 investors throughout the country to want to purchase those bonds. So Ms. Burns did a wonderful job, as usual, explaining the district's financial position to the rating agencies. This last page here, ladies and gentlemen, is the final term sheet. This is basically just a summary of the transaction that we conducted, the new bonds that you have outstanding. Again, we already closed on this transaction. We produced interest cost savings of just over $1 million for you taxpayers. We locked in that interest rate of 1.27%. Again, S&P rating agency has affirmed your underlying true credit rating of a AA- with a stable outlook. And basically, that's just 2 notches below the perfect rating, which is AAA rating. We had that rating as well because of the TA's permanent school fund guarantee. Whenever you market bonds, you can use their credit rating to try to get you the best interest rate possible, which occurred here. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody got any questions?
Interest rate is locked in for semi-annual.
It's locked in for the life of the bonds. Yes, sir.
So what the economy is, this interest rate won't.
No, sir, it won't change. No, sir, it's fixed. It's going to stay as is.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the good picture. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Before I leave, it's wonderful to see everybody again, but this is a beautiful facility. A lot of times when we help our clients finance projects like this, like we did this one, we deliver the money and then all of a sudden they forget about us or something. But no, it's wonderful to kind of see the end product. I think it came out very beautiful. So thank you for having me here, and hope everybody can stay safe.
Thank you. D, 2021 formula grants, consider a federal application available for public viewing. Mr. Scott?
Sir, Mr. President, as is always the case this time of year, we bring to the board and to the public information about our entitlement application. We will be submitting this year's application on July 1, and the application for our entitlement funding is available for trustees as well as the public to review in my office from this day forward, and would be happy to answer any questions about IDEA Part B or Titles 1 through 4 at this time. If you have any questions.
Anybody got any questions? No? Move on to item E, Essential EIC Local Revised 06/11/2020. Mr. Scott?
Sir, your electronic.
Yes, sir. In your electronic packet on page 47, you'll see Board Policy EIC Local. This particular policy pertains to academic achievement and class rank. As a result of the shutdown in the spring due to COVID-19, the district was in a position where we had to make some decisions around what would we do about student GPAs and the integrity of, given that we were closed. As a result of making a decision to freeze GPA calculations for the spring of 2020, we also came across some recommended adjustments by legal counsel for EIC Local. And so what's presented to you tonight is our existing EIC Local with some revisions that I want to just give you a high-level overview of. The first revision that you'll see in our EIC Local is a change from the phrase pre-AP to honors beginning in the academic year 21-22. And the reason for that is that the College Board owns the name AP, and so in order for us to continue to name our courses as pre-AP, we would need to pay for that right. And so because it's our curriculum that we've written and designed, we don't feel like we should pay the College Board to use our curriculum. So as a result, we're not going to call those classes pre-AP, we'll call them honors, and they'll be weighted in the same way that in the past pre-AP courses have been weighted. I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. Another shift that you'll see is in the weighting of GPA. Previously, our GPA grade calculations had multipliers for courses that were AP or dual credit. They had a 12-point calculation multiplier, and then if they were previously pre-AP, they had a 10-point multiplier. If they were quote-unquote regular classes, then they were weighted at face value. And then if they were content modified, developmental, or basic courses, then they were received a multiplier of -10. Now keep in mind, that's just for GPA calculations. Never have student grades not been reflected accurately on the transcript. It's just for GPA calculation purposes. Those were the way that we calculated in our policy. Beginning with the phase out, held harmless, if you will, this particular group of high school students. So beginning in the year 2023, we'll be shifting to a new GPA calculation that includes the same 12-point, 10-point, and no multiplier, but there will no longer be a -10-point multiplier for basic developmental or content modified courses. In addition to that, we had to clarify some language around our top ranking SUMA, specifically around the honor graduate certificate. We've always known that the #1 ranking senior qualified for the certificate from the Texas Education Agency, which entitled them to 1 year's free tuition to a state college or university. What we've since learned is that actually we had to determine the way that it would be calculated out to decimal points, and we're going to stick with 4 decimal points for calculation purposes, should there be a tie of 2 top graduates, we could actually award 2 certificates, which is new information for us. In the student handbook, however, we will have to have tiebreaker guidelines and procedures for if in the event there were more than 2 tied out to 4 decimal places. Now, in my time here, I've never seen that, but it is mathematically and statistically possible. So we'll have to have that in policy and again in the student handbook. Just another couple of points that aren't updated but that come up as questions that I wanted the board to be aware of is that if a student has a pass or not pass on their transcript, that those are obviously not calculated in a student's GPA. That would be a pass or not pass for a particular course. Sometimes that happens when students transfer in. And in addition to that, if a student retakes a course, every time they retake it, it is on their transcript and it is all calculated into their GPA. And so just wanted the board to be aware of that. Those have existed in our local policy and just wanted to remind the board of that if those questions come up from time to time. So with all that, I'll be happy to answer any questions about the revised EIC local that is being presented to you tonight for your consideration.
Any questions? Nope. All right, thank you, Mr. Toscano. Move on to item F, personnel report.
Sir.
Real quick, let's notice that Dale and Ashley are on my stream.
Yes.
I didn't notice, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
move on to personnel report.
Squirrel. Yes, sir, and trustees, on page 51 in your miscellaneous packet, you will see this month's report. In the last few months, you've had reports monthly that had little to no activity, and of course, as we move into June and July, you're going to begin to see a huge rise in activity, and you'll also see those from the personnel department, particularly Ms. Sanders, who's with us tonight, breathing heavily in the next couple of months, because this is peak season for our personnel department. At this particular juncture, being mindful of year-to-year comparisons of resignations and retirees and such, we're about on pace with where we normally are. You can also see that many of those positions have already begun to be replaced with new hires who are also reflected in that report on page 53 and 54. So for the next couple of months, expect to see quite a bit of activity in the monthly personnel report. And as is always the case, be happy to provide additional information on all the information in the report or any specific items within the report at your request.
Everybody good?
Question. Did we have a fairly good participation in exit interviews on the teachers that resigned?
Yes, sir. And actually in July, I believe we're bringing the latest report that I'm looking out there. I think the first few reports we had very small numbers and in particular smaller numbers of teachers proportionally in the whole groups. It was a little difficult to discern any useful actionable information from. At this point, after a year, we're getting a little bit better information that we think we can present to the board. And actually, we intend to do that at the goal setting workshop. We think that at that point, we'll be able to extract some meaningful and actionable information from that report. And then going forward, I think we'll be able to bring that report to the board in order.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Toscano. Move on to the action agenda A, item A, revised 2021 academic school year calendar. Mr. Toscano?
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll go to item G, upcoming events. I'm sorry.
No problem. Your June, July calendar has in it just a couple of things to point out. First is At the end of this month, the 24th to the 26th, is the annual summer SLI. At this particular point, I believe that TASB has determined that this year's conference will be a virtual conference. I believe a couple of you have already signed up. If you have or would like to still do that, make sure you let Margaret know and we'll get you registered for that event. In July, our next regularly scheduled meeting is at 6:30. I believe that Mr. Massengill will be reaching out at my request for some dates for a July budget workshop date, as well as an August goal setting and team building date. And so when we have that information, Mr. Massengill will definitely share that information and prepare to publish board meeting postings, et cetera, and we'll create a review. Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir, thank you. On July 16th is our July regularly scheduled meeting. I'll get with Mr. Massengill and see where that location will be in July. Of course, as we all know, we kind of see things change on a weekly basis, so as soon as we know, Mr. Massengill will make sure we include that in our post-meeting communication with the public in terms of location. Also in July, on the 22nd, 23rd, the district leadership team will be coming back. We will be convening this year, and I believe we've landed on the high school, possibly in this facility. I'll get you more specific information, trustees, as well as Mr. Massengill, as you normally visit with that group on the first day back. But as of today, we're kind of contemplating using this facility where we can convene a whole group safely and then break out into spaces to do the work we normally do during that leadership retreat those 2 days. Also, in July, on the 29th and 30th, is when our new teachers are going to be back for district training. That is at Legacy Middle School again, and on the 29th, they'll be on their campuses, but on the 30th, they'll be convening at Legacy, and again, all trustees are always welcome to both of those events to meet with our staff. Mr. Massengill, you normally on the 30th. Welcome for new teachers. Say a few words to the new teachers to the East Central High School. Then also, with regard to upcoming events, we do have an updated year at a glance for trustees that Margaret has put together for you all for next year. The July date and the August date for budget workshop and team building are in there as a placeholder, but the date will fill in when the next time we meet. We have those dates in there. We'll get you an updated one to replace the one on your refrigerator. I'd be happy to answer questions you might have about the upcoming events.
Everybody good? Awesome. All right. Now we will move on to action agenda A. Item A, revised 2021 academic school year calendar. Mr. Scott?
Trustees, we presented, staff presented to the board at our June 10th workshop a calendar to consider, which included a little bit of flexibility in our calendar for next year in the event that we experience some closures like we did this year. And so the board had previously adopted our calendar for next year, so we're recommending keeping that calendar as is, with an adjustment to the last 17 days beyond the last day into June, which gives us a little bit of flexibility in the event that we close down for periods of time next year to extend the school year into June as mandatory closure makeup days. And so as we presented it on the 10th, it is being presented to you tonight for your consideration and possible approval of the amended calendar for next year that includes those particular dates as mandatory closure makeup days. And I believe you've got a hard copy of the proposed calendar in your miscellaneous packet.
Anybody have any
Mr. President, I recommend the board approve the revised 2021 academic school year calendar as presented.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent to approve the revised 2021 academic school year calendar. Do I have a motion? Motion from Mr. James Mulkey. Do I have a second? A second from Mr. Victor Garza. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Move on to item B, amendment to district of innovation plan. Mr. Toscano?
Yes, sir. Trustees, on March 21st of last year, the board approved the district's innovation local plan. However, in December, the district approved an amendment to that plan based on a statute that allowed districts of innovation to offer group health benefits for school employees. So the amendment to the plan on December 17th, enabling the district, through the District of Innovation, to move towards allowing an alternative group health benefits plan, has since been recommended for some additional verbiage to be added. And so an amendment to the amendment, if you will. So in your electronic packet on page 68, you'll see the District of Innovation local plan, which again, the board adopted in March, amended in December, and is considering tonight some additional verbiage to that amendment, which you can find added again on page 68. So at this particular time, I'd be happy to answer any questions about the additional verbiage. If you have it.
Mr. Mulkey? Good. Victor? All right, Mr. Toscano?
Mr. President, I recommend board approval of the amendment to the District of Innovation Plan as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Toscano. We have a recommendation from the superintendent to approve the amendment to District of Innovation Plan. Do I have a motion? Motion from Mr. Victor Garza. Do I have a second? Have a second from Mr. James Mulkey. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Item C, wastewater treatment plants contract operation proposal. Mr. Toscano?
Sir, trustees, the district has wastewater treatment plants at the high school, as well as Heritage Middle School, and most recently in Tradition Elementary, as you are aware. We have also had an operator manage and operate those plants, which we are required to have a licensed operator do so. That contract had expired, and so the district is moving forward on securing a new contract to continue to operate those facilities. And so I'd like Mr. Matt Morgan to present the board an overview of our process and our recommendations. I believe in your electronic packet, the item is on 76, as well as an attached document on page 77. Mr. Morgan?
Mr. Mr. Toscano, member of the board. Thank you. A little bit of history on our sewer plants. In previous years, we managed the plant with in-house staff. As staff left the district, it's a very difficult license to obtain, and especially in a school setting. So we contracted out. We originally contracted out by San Antonio River Authority. It became a lot for them to manage because it's in a school setting, and so we were settling with a different contractor, Southwaste Providers. They sold out and got out of the wastewater business altogether, and so a local company out in Hibernia began taking on the services. The services began to start increasing to the over the $50,000 threshold, and so that's why we decided to go out for bids with the addition of adding the Tradition plant onto service. Originally, during construction, we had a one-year contract for that plant, but that is set to expire at the next month as well. So we went out for proposals. Anyways, with the help of our district engineer, CDS Murray, they basically said there's two contractors, Sarah and Rich Organics, who we were already using, but we tried it anyways. We only received one proposal from Enriched Organics, and on the following page would be a summation of the services. So for the high school wastewater plant, which is actually a treatment plant, it would be $26.50 a month. For Heritage Middle School wetlands, it'd be $1,500 a month. And then for Tradition Elementary, which is an aerobic system, would only be $350 a month. The proposal or the contract documents is for a 3-year period with the option to renew after that 3 years if both parties agree. And then also a 3% basically inflation rate for every year of service that we complete. So we'll add 3% to the monthly fee to all 3 plants. Additionally, there's some consumable markups, some laboratory services at time, and sludge management markups. There was a 15% markup on those instead of the district directly handling those, and so we can pick and choose whether it's more advantageous for us to handle that or just to pay the 15%. And so we have that option. And in collaboration with the district engineer and the wastewater engineer, he thought that was fair for each tender. So based on that, after reviewing the bid with the district engineer, CDS Murray, the district recommends to award the bid to Enriched Organics for a 3-year contract with the option for additional 3 years. I'll be happy to answer any questions about this one.
Anybody got any questions? I think we're good, Mr. Morgan, thank you. Mr. Scott?
Mr. President, I recommend board approval to award wastewater treatment plants contract operations to Enriched Organics as presented.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent to approve the award of wastewater treatment plant contract operations to Enriched Organics. Do I have a motion? I have a motion from Mr. Victor Garza. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. James Mulkey. Dale, have any questions? No. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item D, contract for delinquent tax collections. Mr. Scott?
Yes, sir. Trustees, the district is currently under contract with Linebarger, Goggin, Lane, Blair, and Sampson to collect delinquent taxes owed to the district. We have been under contract for these tax collection services with Linebarger since 2005. Tonight, as you can see highlighted on page 81 in your electronic packet, we have the option to extend an additional 5 years. The original contract for 2005 enabled the district to extend for 5-year increments 4 different times. And this would be the 4th time in the existing contract. As you'll remember from earlier in the meeting, we had to have a public hearing which shared with the public that we were going to be considering this tonight. We've not had to do that historically. This was a new statutory requirement as the first part of executing this kind of contract. The second part is to present the contract to the board tonight and to make a recommendation to board consideration of extending that final 5-year option. This also means that at the end of this 5-year option, the board has the option of putting it back out there for potentially contracting with this particular firm or any others. So the option's still there beyond this. It's just the end of this particular contract after this 5-year period should the board approve it. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are they still doing a good job of working with our citizens who maybe having a little trouble with their taxes?
So I may let Julie speak to that a little. I know that they're very diligent, and I know that they're very effective. And Judy, I think you get the question that Mr. Bryant's asking about working with folks who are struggling a little bit to
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Nope. Mr. Scott?
Mr. President, I recommend board approval of the attached action item agreement to extend the contract for Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson for the collection of delinquent taxes for 1 5-year term to June 30th, 2025, as presented.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent to approve the attached action item agreement to extend a contract with Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson LLP for the collection of delinquent taxes for the 1 5-year term to June 30th, 2025. Do I have a motion? We have a motion from Mr. Steve Bryant. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Garland. Ms. Dale, have any questions? No. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Consent agenda. Would anybody like to have anything from the consent? Oh, we got, I'm sorry. Yeah, I keep messing up tonight, sorry. That's what I get for having one contact in. Item E, consideration and possible approval of alternative health plans. Mr. Scott?
Trustees, as you'll recall from our workshop on the 10th, that as a district communication, the district has the option of offering an alternative health plan option for employees, which would be in addition to our current TRS active care. After reviewing claims history and doing research, we learned that the district is in a very good position to implement a self-insured health plan, which we presented to the board on the 10th. What we're bringing to you tonight in summary matches what we shared on the 10th, and we do have a one-page document with an overview of the specifics, but it's something that staff has been working really hard on. It's an option that currently exists that may not after the next legislative session. And so we felt like we're in a really good position to give this a shot. There's potentially tremendous cost savings for our employees. And as we mentioned on the 10th, in district healthcare clinic for employees who take this healthcare option with no copay. So there's an incentive in this program to really focus on overall health and wellness and giving medical care before major healthcare issues arise. And so it's a different approach. It's cost effective, and we believe that it still offers all of the same options, many of the same options for folks that still use the same physicians and clinics that they've used in the past, should they prefer to do that as opposed to use our community clinic for our employees. So be happy to answer any more technical questions than that. We do have staff here this evening ready to do so. But again, this is what we spent some time talking about on the 10th, and we're bringing back to you for your consideration the very same plan. Just another couple of points. The timeline would be our enrollment period would be staggered to TRS, so that we give employees a chance to really study both. We want to extend the enrollment period as long as we can too, so that again, this is a lot of education that our employees are going to need to understand, because TRS is having some changes this year as well. So they need to understand those changes, but they also need to understand the option being presented to them as an alternative, so they make the best option for themselves. But we believe, for the most part, with the exception of one option, that the the option I'm presenting to you tonight is going to benefit our employees more so than the current TRS option. It is for a 1-year contract, which enables us to hopefully ensure that it provides the quality of service and care that we anticipate. So we'll be bringing this back to you next year for consideration, again, with definitely some more information about how the year went. Should you approve it tonight, UBC will be aggressively securing a facility for the in-district clinic. Again, they used a study of zip codes for where our employees are coming from, and the intent of using that to secure where the highest concentration of our employees are coming from in district, to hopefully geographically select a optimal placement for where their clinic will be. They have also committed to providing access to healthcare September 1, whether they're ready to move into the facility that they secure or not. But there's some variables there as to the degree to which the facility is going to be a plug and play, or whether they're going to have to do some renovations. But in any event, employees who choose this option, should you approve tonight, will have access to healthcare in the in-district clinic September 1. Happy to answer any questions.
You know, this is important with substitute teaching and stuff, regular district, anything about
Yeah, it'd be full-time. And this is, while it has a telemedicine option, we're still going to recommend the board's consideration to continue with the telemedicine option that we've been purchasing. Because this telemedicine option will only be for the employee or their dependents that are on the plan. So if an employee only is on the plan, it would be the employee only who can take advantage of the telemedicine. But with the option the board has been providing, whether they take insurance or not, the employee and their dependents can utilize telemedicine for primary care. So this is not in place of that. I just wanted to be clear about that. We've found increased utilization for primary health care services for the telemedicine the board has been providing.
Ms. Dale, you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, just making sure.
I have a question. Is there a cost to the district to contract with these folks, whether an employee signs up or not? In other words, just signing up with, contracting with this company, is the district obligated in any fashion financially? In other words, you have 10 employees and you haven't signed up anybody yet. Is there a cost to the district initially?
So, Shannon, you may have to answer this, but I think what you're talking about is anticipation.
Right. Before anybody participates, is there a cost to the district to contract with these folks? Okay, so let me see if I can get my question out right. Okay, if we approve this plan for the employees, and before anybody signs up, is there a cost to the district?
No, there would not be a cost.
Okay, so until such time as you get a fair number of people participating, then there's a break even or viable number for you to make it worthwhile for the plan to work. Is that correct? Okay, but until such time, there is no cost to the district just because we approve this for the employees. Okay, that was my question. Before I say yay. I don't want them to say, okay, you owe me X because you approved it. I want to make sure that I'm saying, okay, yes, let's make this available to our employees, but I don't want them to be a cost to the district just because I say yes. If they decide, yes, we want to do this, and there is a 100 minimum person cutoff for you to make it viable, I say, okay, we're good with 100, we'd love to have 1,000. But before we even start with the first one, I don't want it to be a cost. I want to understand that. So I understand that there is no cost until there is a break-even point for you, right? Okay, that's what I want to understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burns.
Thank you, Ms. Burns. Any other questions? All right, Mr. Scott.
Mr. President, I recommend board approval of the Education Service Center Region 20 Universal Benefits Consortium Interlocal Agreement Resolution and Agreement as presented.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent to approve the Education Service Center Region 12 Universal Benefits Consortium interlocal agreement resolution and agreement. Do I have a motion? I have a motion from Mr. Garza. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Ms. Del Brazil. Nice to hear from you, Ms. Brazil. Thank you. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we can move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda. Would anybody like to pull anything from the consent agenda? I need a motion to approve as presented. Need a second? Second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, action agenda B. Pursuant to the Texas Government Code 551.071, attorney consultation regarding legal issues related to implementation of leave under the Families First Coronavirus Act. Here we going into closed session at 7:40 p.m. on June 18th, 2020, sorry. Roland turned you off. Roland's off.
It was an accident. I got distracted by Ashley's hat. Can you hear us?
All right, everybody here, ready to go? All right, Board of Trustees, Decentral, ended its meeting at 8:10 PM on June 18th, 2020. No action was taken in the closed meeting. We'll have a motion.
Mr. President, I move that we authorize the superintendent to implement the FFCRA with no supplementation with an employee's accrued state and local leave and no intermittent leave.
We have a motion from Mr. Steve Bryant. Do I have a second? Have a second from Mr. Victor Garza. All in favor? Dale? All opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion for adjournment? Have a second?
Second.
We are adjourned. And unanimous consent. I can't see it, I can't talk.